America is saved from fascism. Now it's time to heal and round up anyone who disagrees with us. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Good news, America. The political purges are on their way. Mainstream Democrat Joe Biden is saying this is a time for our nation to heal and unify.
Let's give each other a chance. It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, lower the temperature, see each other again, listen to each other again. And to make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. They are not our enemies. They are Americans. They're Americans.
Fortunately, despite Joe Biden's dumb calls for reconciliation and giving each other a chance, more rational, far-left politicians are calling for a purge of any and all Trump supporters. Democratic Socialist Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortezová asked, "Is anyone archiving these Trump sycophants for when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? I foresee decent probability of many deleted tweets, writings, photos in the future." That's a big job. Preliminary data shows this year 71 million Americans voted for Trump. That's up from 63 million in 2016. And I'm sorry to say, Trump did better with minorities than any Republican candidate in 60 years, even though he's a racist. These ignorant minorities have really internalized a lot of racism. So clearly there are a lot of people we need to purge, but we can't be daunted. In response to AOC's tweet asking, "Is anyone archiving these Trump sycophants?" former Obama administration staffer Michael Simon said, "Yes, we are." So, may I present to you the Trump Accountability Project. It urges that we must never forget those who helped further the Trump agenda. The world should never forget those who, when faced with a decision, chose to put their money, their time, and their reputations behind separating children from their families, encouraging racism and anti-Semitism, and negligently causing the unnecessary loss of life and economic devastation from our country's failed response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The site is a self-described permanent record of people who elected Trump, staffed his government, served him, funded him, supported him, and represented him. And the site even includes this nice public list of names, including federal judges appointed by Trump. Others have suggested we should keep and publish a list of everyone who assists Trump's frivolous and dangerous attacks on the election. Name and shame forever. Name and shame forever. I love democracy. So what dangerous attacks on the election was this guy talking about? Well, as I mentioned in my previous episode, voter fraud, the election isn't over yet. Joe Biden hasn't technically won the election at this point. A lot of media may have declared him the winner, but legally, we have to wait until December 14th. That's when the Electoral College votes. And in the meantime, there are ongoing recounts and lawsuits over voter fraud. I mean, I'm not calling into question the election. That's what other people are doing. It's not me. Please, don't name and shame me. But you might be wondering, does naming and shaming people go far enough? Here's a helpful suggestion from the former National Press Secretary for the Democratic National Committee and ex-senior spokesman for the Barack Obama campaign. He tweeted, "White House staff are starting to look for jobs. Employers considering them should know there are consequences for hiring anyone who helped Trump attack American values." Excellent! This way we can go after not only Trump supporters, but the people who associate with them. That was echoed by a Democratic activist and lawyer who tweeted, "If you hire someone who remained with the Trump admin after the election, be on notice, you will be held accountable by media's touch, and we will ensure you are exposed." Boy, I love Twitter. It's such a wonderful collection of progressive free thinkers, like the former Twitter CEO, who tweeted in September that, first, capitalists who think you can separate society from business are going to be the first people lined up against the wall and shot in the revolution. I'll happily provide video commentary. Yes! Let's kill all the capitalists, like corporate CEOs. Now, I wouldn't want you to think that this enlightened purging is just being done by left-wing activists. It's totally bipartisan. Like when the Lincoln Project, a Republican anti-Trump political action committee, tweeted the identities and contact information of Trump campaign attorneys. Unfortunately, Twitter deleted that tweet for violating their rules on abusive behavior. But don't worry, that won't stop the Lincoln Project. They're now encouraging people to harass random employees who work for the law firms representing Trump. You know, to defend our democracy, even though it turns out one of the law firms isn't even representing Trump at all. Abraham Lincoln would be so proud of the Lincoln Project. After all, Lincoln himself said we should act with malice towards all and charity towards none. What's that, Shelley? That's the opposite of what Lincoln said? Stop bringing up facts, Shelley. Do you want us to get purged by the Lincoln Project? Anyway, this whole situation reminds me of the Tacon list. It was a list of millions of people in Venezuela who asked for the recall of Venezuelan socialist dictator Hugo Chavez. It was published online, helping Chavez quickly crack down on all those people standing in the way of Venezuela's journey to a socialist paradise. Unfortunately, there was a bit of backlash to the Trump Accountability Project, for some reason. So this permanent record of Trump supporters made some changes to its own permanent record by changing its website to sound less radical. Now, instead of targeting all people who helped further the Trump agenda, it specifically targets people who took a paycheck from the Trump administration. And instead of being a permanent record of people who elected him, staffed his government, served him, funded him, supported him, and represented him, they changed it to say we should not allow the following groups of people to profit from their experience. And they took out 3 of the categories. So those other groups are totally safe now, I'm sure. And what was once a public list of names has now been made private, though you can still see it on Web Archive. And I don't know, maybe there are some ambitious hackers out there who can leak the personal information of everyone on the list. Like the way hackers leaked the personal information of conservative political commentator Tucker Carlson. Antifa protesters then showed up at Tucker Carlson's front door and broke it. That'll make him think twice about leaving his 4 kids home alone. But that was 2 years ago. I'm sure that won't happen now that we're moving past the intolerance of the Trump era. Although, in order to move past the Trump era, is it really enough to just go after Trump supporters and anyone who associates with them? If you think about it, isn't the real problem the people who are telling us to forgive Trump supporters? Yes, to truly purge this cancer from our society, we must also purge anyone who tells us that Trump supporters are not our enemies.
They are not our enemies. They are Americans.
Okay, Twitter, you know what to do. So what do you think? Tell me in the comments below. But if you have a critical opinion of the Trump Accountability Project, maybe don't use your real names. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.